Breaking news, California Governor Gavin Newsom is proceeding forward with a corrupt scheme to strip the Independent Citizens Commission on Redistricting of all of their powers and give politicians the ability to choose voters by manipulating the lines of their own districts. Coming up, we'll tell you what Newsom is proposing to do, the impact it will have on you and national politics, and what we're doing to fight back. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. We've been tracking this very alarming proposal that Gavin Newsom has been pushing forward on. It is to, in the middle of the decade, redraw the lines of California's congressional map. California gets 52 congressional seats. That's down from 53 last cycle. But of course, Newsom and his bad policies are chasing people out of the state. But each state is required to do redistricting every 10 years. That is a constitutional requirement. Once we do a census, then they are to redraw the lines of the districts so that the population in each district is equal. So every 10 years, we do redistricting. But in 2010, California voters decided very wisely that politicians shouldn't be able to draw their own district lines because we saw gerrymandering. This is where politicians and political parties will manipulate the lines of a district so that they pack in favored voters into one district and dilute the strength, the representation, the voting power of other segments of voters. It's always designed to protect incumbent politicians, and it's also designed to benefit one political party over the other. Gerrymandering is what it's called. It is horrible. It should never be tolerated. It should never be done. And that's why California voters in 2010 amended the California state constitution to take the power of drawing the lines of districts every 10 years out of the hands of the politicians and put it in the hands of an independent citizens, nonpartisan commission. And that commission has very strict criteria that they have to follow. One of those criteria is they cannot draw lines with any sort of political advantage or consideration in mind. It doesn't work perfectly, but it's a hell of a lot better than the politicians choosing the lines that they favor for their own incumbent protection or political advantage. Well, Gavin Newsom is saying, yep, let's just rip all that up. Let's overturn the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, the nonpartisan commission, and let the supermajority Democrats in Sacramento redraw the lines. And you know why. He wants to give an edge to Democrats. And it's not even that he's keeping that a secret, okay? Most politicians lie. They say, oh, it'd be a better map. It's going to lead to better representation. No, Newsom is very clear. He wants to eliminate Republican seats for the benefit of Democrats. I don't want you to get too hung up on the partisanship, but I want you to know what his motivation is. My motivation is I want to have fair districts that are independently drawn and that no politician should be involved in it. That's my motivation. Newsom's motivation is partisanship. It is corruption. It has nothing to do with better representation. It has nothing to do with a fair process. It's all about politicians getting to select their voters versus voters selecting the politicians. Let's dive right in. And I'm going to tell you why he's doing it, the impact, how it's going to be done, the timeline, and what we're doing to fight back. Those are the things that we're going to cover in this video. Before we jump in, we are going to be leading the fight to stop Gavin Newsom. And so I need you to join that fight. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. When you go to that website, there are stories that you can share about Newsom's scheme. Here it is. Newsom unveils partisan redistricting plan to protect corrupt politicians. Please share that story. You also can like this video and share this video with all of your friends. We need this message to get far and wide so we warn voters of the plot that Newsom has hatched. Also, when you're up at that website, please join our fight. Join our growing movement statewide to take back the state from the far left insanity. Go to the bottom of the website and just sign up. First name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. That will get you weekly updates on Friday at 9 a.m. as to all of our news stories so that you can share those and stay informed. But also, you will get our voter guide. When ballots are mailed in every election, you'll get our plain English voter guide, and we make endorsements for judge races, school board races, all the way up to the top of the ticket. So you know who the good candidates are. Plus, we do give you a plain English description of the deceptively worded ballot measures, both state and local, on your ballot. You will also get updates on things happening in your neck of the woods and how you can be involved in the fight to take back California. If you're not on the list, you're not going to get the information. So please sign up at the bottom of that website. Finally, please chip in a contribution. We can do none of this work. We can't recruit candidates. We can't sponsor ballot measures like the California Voter ID Initiative for 2026 or Protect Prop 13 initiative. These campaigns require your financial support. No one's going to come in and save us and fund us. We need contributions from grassroots supporters like you. So here's how it all happened, how it all started. Newsom, a few weeks ago, said that Texas is deciding to redistrict for partisan advantage. And let me be very clear: I do not like any political party manipulating lines for the benefit of one party over the other. Again, I like citizen redistricting commissions, nonpartisan, independent. I think lines should be drawn based upon equal population, based on keeping traditional communities together, respecting geographical boundaries, don't split cities, don't have bizarre districts that snake around, compact districts of like communities. And plus, we do have the compliance of the Voting Rights Act, making sure that minority representation voices are heard. All of those things should be the ones guiding the principles guiding and redistricting. So when Texas Republicans said they want to jigger and redraw the maps of their districts, I opposed it. I still oppose it. I think it's a bad idea that shouldn't be done. Frankly, Texas, you'd benefit from having an independent redistricting commission. All states would. But now Newsom says, well, because they're doing it, we ought to do it. Oh, two wrongs make a right? Is that what we're talking about, Newsom? Just because someone else is doing something bad doesn't mean you should be joining in the bad practices. Again, this is the horrible, corrupt, negligent leadership that he's showing. Plus, he's hyper partisan. So he was on a podcast, and he says, we ought to use a special session of the legislature to rejigger and remap the districts.
I saw what Governor Abbott did today.
Yeah.
Announcing a special session that will include redistricting.
Seizing power even after
These guys aren't, they're not around, man. They're playing by a totally different set of rules. And here I am in California trying to raise the bar of sort of bipartisanship. Years and years ago, we did independent redistricting in a state that I assure you, with 2/3 majorities in the legislature, could gerrymander like no other state. And we've been playing fair. But I saw what he just...
Look at this. He's actually admitting the quiet part out loud. We can gerrymander with 2/3 supermajority. The Democrats, we could totally gerrymander.
Today made me question that entire program. I mean, these guys are going to do everything in their power to maintain their power. So your question was a specific question. If we don't take back the House of Representatives, I don't want to be alarmist. I don't want to...
Oh, if we don't take back the House of Representatives, so if Democrats don't take back the House of Representatives, this is not about fair elections. It's not about districts where you say, hey, I've got a congressman who represents our community, and they represent our community, not disparate Democrat voters stitched together in order to produce a Democrat win or rig the election. That's what this is, rigging the election.
Game over. That will be one of the most profound moments, I think, in modern history of this country. Greek democracy and the Roman Republic, this notion of co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty, the rule of law versus the rule of Don. If we're not able to hold that line by taking back Congress, I think that is the red line. It's already...
And so, in order to get the majority, we're going to break the rule of law. And we're not going to be checks and balances and co-equal branches of government. Might makes right. This guy is absolutely corrupt. And the media isn't calling him out on the hypocrisy here. Again, I've been quite clear. I think Republicans ought to disavow what's going on in Texas and urge Texas not to rejigger the lines. And hey, do the independent commission, please, Texas. Don't do it mid-cycle. Do it every 10 years, because we shouldn't be redrawing lines mid-cycle. It should be every 10 years, but get it done through an independent commission. Now, Newsom is saying, let's throw all that stuff out. So later on in that video, he says, I'm going to call a special session of the legislature. But he's not able to do that. In a moment, I'll explain why that's illegal and how the only thing he can do is call a special election, which means that we're going to have a special election in California if he proceeds forward as early as November. And it might be as late as January, but we're going to have to suit up for a special election at a cost of $200 million, $200 million for California taxpayers in the midst of this massive budget deficit that the state is facing. So that's what this is all about. Democrats desperately look for a redistricting edge in California, New York, and Maryland. Now, what will it actually look like? Well, here's a map that Democrats are considering. It would take and eliminate pretty much 6 Republican congressional seats just by changing the map, and leave Republicans with just 3 seats, 2 in Central Valley and 1, Central Valley and Inland Empire. So what they would do here, let me zoom in on this gerrymandered district. There'd be 1 district in Central Valley snaking all the way up to Sacramento. That's what this District 20 is. So this district is gerrymandered very clearly. Nothing of communities of interest common down here with all the way up here. Look at this one. Goes all the way down the border, all the way over here. And this one here would encompass Central Valley, the northern clip here, all the way down to Inland Empire, a gerrymandered district. What do the people up here have to do with people all the way down here in Big Bear? So that's District 23. And then this one right here is District, can't even zoom in on it, but there's a 1 district left here in South Riverside County. Everything else is gerrymandered throughout the entire state. Every district. Take a look at this one in Northern California. So there's Redding, this Northern California slice that currently was held by Lamalfa. I'll show you his district in a moment. And these guys here have nothing to do with people in San Francisco. Take a look at that district. Redding to San Francisco. Absolute insanity. And so that's what this would do to this entire election. It would result in Doug Lamalfa being kicked out of Congress. You see his district currently is Redding, all the way down to some of these Northern California communities. No San Francisco there, no Bay Area. Kiley would ostensibly, his district would kind of remain. McClintock's district would be absorbed into Kiley's district. So an R+2 seat and an R+8 seat would probably become an R+11 seat. So that's one of the 2 of them would be kicked out, probably McClintock. Then we go down here, and it would prop up this guy, Adam Gray, by making his district more Democrat. So R+1 would become like D+5 or 6 or 7. Then here, Vince Fong would remain. That was that other seat that goes to Inland Empire all the way up to Kern County. Valadeo would be gone. Old Nolte will be gone. And then down here, Young Kim would be gone. Calvert would be gone, or Isa. So that's how they're going to rejigger the lines. That's just one map, by the way. I'm just sharing. And again, those district lines, there are no communities of interest there. There's no commonality. It's just they looked not at people's common bonds, but they looked just on party registration, just on partisanship alone. So Newsom said he was going to do it through a special session. He can't do it through a special session. Here is the California State Constitution. First and foremost, and I will refer to my notes. There's language in here that specifically prohibits a special session mid-cycle from redrawing maps. It says here, Section 1, in the following year in which the national census is taken under the direction of Congress at the beginning of each decade, so the year after 2020 or 2030, so 2031 or 2021, the Citizens Redistricting Commission shall adjust boundary lines. Period. It doesn't say anyone else can do it. It doesn't say the legislature can do it. So Article 21 of the Constitution, Section 1, says only the Redistricting Commission can do this. There's no presumption. I mean, there's no like, oh, there's also a midpoint. No, it's just this is the time, this is the deadline, this is the year. Done. We passed that year. The work was done. It's done. It even refers to, quote, final maps in Section 2 G. Here we are. The commission shall approve 4 final maps that do Board of Equalization, Congress, Assembly, and State Senate. So 4 final maps. Then it goes on to say that the maps are only subject to referenda, not elimination by the legislature midterm, but the only people that can do it are the voters who say, well, we don't like the maps the commission did, so we're going to do a referenda on those maps. And they have to do all that within 45 days. All that stuff has to be done within the timeline stipulated by the state constitution. So when Newsom says, oh, we're going to do this midterm, he's up against state constitutional language that says you can't do it midterm. We also have a Supreme Court case from 1983, Legislature versus Duke-Majan. Quote, under the well-established constitutional principles that we have reviewed, it is clear that because one presumptively valid redistricting plan based on 1980 census has already been adopted, Article 21 prohibits the adoption of a second redistricting plan either by the legislature or by initiative. Boom. Done. So Newsom's special session that he began with basically is illegal. He's still kind of hinting about it, but it's not going to happen, all right? And his lawyers know it's not going to happen. So what does he have to do? He has to call a special election. Special election is called with a 2/3 vote of the state legislature. Democrats have a supermajority. This is why staying in California and fighting and flipping seats to make sure we don't have a supermajority, this is why it's important. And I'm looking at you, national Republican donors that left us for dead in the ditch. This is all your fault, in part, because you have not been helping us break the supermajority in California. We're going to do it anyway, my friends, this cycle. But national Republicans who left us for dead, now you have a big problem with these House seats. But again, that's why us rebels, the Reform California movement, we will come and save the day. So we are going to go to a special election. What is the timeline on the special election? The timeline on the special election could be anywhere between November, yes, this November, literally in 90 days, or all as long as January. We know that that's the window because the legislature is on recess until the 18th of August. So if they pass a bill that day, it takes several weeks for the election officials to print ballots and whatnot. Then you have to give people 30 days to return the ballots. We're talking the first Tuesday of this November if they go immediately out of the gate in August, which I predict they will do. I think they want a November election. I think they want to get this thing done. Or if they drag their feet, the latest they could do it would be January. Here's why. If you don't get the constitutional amendment that they're seeking saying, yeah, the legislature can redraw the lines mid-cycle. If they don't get that by January, then the legislature can't pass the new maps by the end of January. Why do we have to get the maps by the end of January? Because February 8th is when the candidate filing period begins in the state of California. Because they have to file their paperwork for the primary in June of next year by March, the first week of March. We have to have a primary by June. And then, of course, whoever wins those primaries then gets teed up for the November election. So nobody knows what seats they're running in until we finalize them, which means you have to finalize the darn seats by the end of January. So how do we fight back? This is important because if this illegal, corrupt redistricting scheme goes forward and gets approved by the voters, number one, we lose fair representation. we will have a more corrupt government system in California than we've ever had, and that's saying a lot given where we're starting. So we must fight to stop this, not for partisan gain on either side, but because we need to protect the independent citizen, nonpartisan process to draw lines. Politicians should never be able to pick the voters. The voters should be the ones picking the politicians. And yes, if you want to motivate yourself because of the House majority, if that's part of your motivation, fine. But we need to stop this dead in its tracks. So the first thing we need to do is we have to be clear on our messaging. Please, when you're explaining this to voters, don't say they're trying to go after Republican seats. Some of those voters are going to say, great, I don't like my Republican congressman. Make the case based upon Newsom trying to eviscerate, repeal, eliminate, destroy the Citizens Nonpartisan Independent Redistricting Commission. Make the case on the basis of the politicians will be able to protect themselves corruptly. They'll be able to pick their voters versus the voters picking the politicians. Stay on that message. It doesn't matter about partisanship. We know that that's what's motivating Newsom in part. Newsom's also motivated by the fact that he's running for president, and this will give him a bunch of attention in his pathetic crusade to be the Democrat nominee for president in 2028. He's the one fighting Trump. So he's willing to spend $200 million of your scarce state taxpayer money on his redistricting scheme, not only to corruptly deprive us of fair districts, but to promote himself for his race for president. So stay on message, number one. Number two, I'm introducing a state constitutional amendment to penalize the state legislators who vote for this plan. Oh yeah, baby. We're not just going to stop their crap at the ballot. We're going to go after the legislature, the state legislature. And I'm working on something pretty clever because we're already going to be collecting signatures on the California Voter ID Initiative. We have to get 1 million signatures for that. Why not have a separate second petition on a poison pill initiative? Oh yeah. If the Democrats put this on the ballot and call the special election, not only are we going to fight like hell to defeat them, we're going to punish them. We're going to teach them a lesson. So my friends in the state legislature, the state assembly, the state senate, oh, I know the Democrat party bosses are going to demand that you toe the line. It will end your political career as you know it, because we are going to be moving forward on another round of populist reform that adds on to some of the provisions in the Citizens Redistricting Commission. Stay tuned. And third, we need to gear up for this election, which means we have to raise money. We have to recruit volunteers, and that's where you come in. We know the ballots could be mailed as early as October. That gives us basically, 67 days. So go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org, sign up on the website, contribute. You can sign up to be a volunteer at this button right here, the volunteer button, and you can contribute at the contribution button, the contribute button at the very top. That's the latest on the redistricting scheme that Gavin Newsom is plotting to impose on us. Let's unite, spread the word, share this video, get your friends to sign up at the website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution, and let's stop Gavin Newsom from destroying our democracy. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.